Look at you, dirty boy. This is my very dirty 1988 Mazda RX-7 FC3S Turbo 2. Wow, what a mouthful. For the past 8 months, I've been resurrecting this thing from the dead and restored it from a barn find that has been sitting for over 14 years unregistered to, well, this. In the previous video, we took it out for one of its last drives of this year, and now that wintertime is coming very fast, this means that it is finally time again for the wrenching season. And since we're putting a huge turbo in this baby right here very soon, I want to take the time and fix some things first that have been bothering me about this car for ages. First things first, I really want to do some maintenance work on the RX-7, but what I want to tackle mainly today is this. As you can tell, the bumper hood gap is actually ginormous on this thing. Before I got the RX-7, it actually got a new paint job. The paint shop really didn't do the greatest job of reassembling everything. We're gonna try to figure out what's wrong with the FC to narrow down this gap, because this is really bothering me. But before, let's do a quick oil change. Car is on rams, the shop is completely smoked out. You can probably not see it on camera, but I can definitely smell it. Whoa, really need to open some windows. Actually, funny thing, every time I start the RX-7, my carbon monoxide, is it called like that? Every time I start the RX-7, it shows this little skull symbol, which usually means death. But anyways, and guys, if you want to stay updated on the latest videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because literally more than 80% of you guys who are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. And the best way to help me out is just to click that subscribe button, watch the videos, because there are many more cool projects and very special projects coming up, such as the Porsche 930 right there. Also, if you want to support me even further, you can now click the link in the description and head over to my Patreon page, because there you can get exclusive benefits such as early access to new videos, content polls, exclusive live streams that I'm going to do in the future, etc. Many cool things. Welcome to the most exciting part of every oil change, which would be draining the old oil. I just need to get to that drain plug somehow, because as you can see, we really don't have that much room. I also had to jack up the car a little bit more because I just couldn't get under it. I mean, I am a skinny guy, but I'm not that skinny. All right, let's see how this oil looks. Oh. And as you can tell, oh, still looks fine to me, to be honest. Alright, and as to be expected, we got a whole bunch of tiny little metal shavings on the tip of the screw. That's, well, to be expected, because obviously I rebuilt the engine. I've installed new stationary gear bearings as well as new side seals, apex seals, so some of that material that's being broken in just gets into the oil. That's totally fine. I also used break-in oil, which definitely contributes to that, because, well, it just makes the break-in period faster, I guess. Anyways, I'm just gonna clean this off, put it back on the car, and then we can fill up the oil. But other than that, it smells like oil. It doesn't really smell like gas, which tells me that our compression should be quite good. We don't have that much blow-by. This would also explain why I don't really have any liquid being caught in my catch can, which I guess is a good sign. So let's fill it up with some new oil and put this back. Let's go. All right, most of the old oil is drained. As you can see, there are just some drips coming down. That means we can put you, little buddy, back where you belong. Now for the oil filter, especially on the RX-7, it is very simple to change it because it just sits right on top of the engine right here. Now, whenever you're replacing an oil filter, make sure to not tighten it as much as I did. I just tightened it by hand once when the engine was still out of the car. Apparently I didn't account for the very uncomfortable position that you need to put yourself in to get this thing back out. But we're getting there. I can already feel it breaking loose. Before I unscrew it all the way, I just want to get some tissues. Okay, to be honest, I mean, getting to the oil filter on an RX-7 is pretty simple because it's just on top of the engine, but removing it without covering your entire engine in oil is a whole nother story. Come here, little buddy. Come here, little buddy. Don't make a mess. And after fighting for a little bit, we got our old oil filter out. Now for the new one, you would usually want to fill your new oil filter up with your brand new engine oil, lube up this O-ring and, well, install it. In my case, since putting oil into the oil filter before installing it would mean that I would cover my entire engine in engine oil, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna loop up this O-ring nicely to make sure that when I'm changing the oil next time on the RX-7, this thing will come off easily. For this, I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of the old engine oil. Doesn't really matter, this is not gonna come in contact with the rest of the engine oil anyways. This is purely for, well, making it easier to remove it once again when you're doing the next oil change. Alright, O-ring nicely looped up, let's put it in. Drink my precious. This stuff is just super thick. This is 20W50. It's just insane. I think I would never put this in any of my other cars, but since it's a Rotary, this thing actually calls for this type of oil. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let it run for a second to give the new oil the chance to, well, spread everywhere nicely in the engine. And then we'll check the oil level again until we're there. Let's go. And I'm turning it off. Oh, by the way, as you can tell, I only got 700 kilometers on this engine, and for these entire 700 kilometers, I actually used break-in oil. So it's about time that we change this oil. All right. Sweet. Now let's take care of this mess right here. First, that means that we, well, need to find out what's actually wrong with the panel gaps here and what's the actual reason that's causing these weird gaps. Because let's be honest, we won't get very far if we just start adjusting things randomly. We need to look for the culprit first. The first thing that I really notice is that the fender gap is actually kind of big, especially compared to the rear door gap. But also, if we look up here, these panels actually line up perfectly. That's the hood, fender, and the door. And down here, you can tell that the fender is just a little longer than the headlight. Now, I could just bring the headlight a little further down, but then it wouldn't line up with the hood anymore. But before I remove both of the fenders and do all of this work, I first want to remove the front bumper and see if I can maybe just fix it by bringing the front bumper a little closer. Come here, little boy. And I noticed this pretty early on when I got the FC, is that all of these bolts that are supposed to hold in the bumper are actually missing. I could theoretically push the bumper much more in, bolt them down, and we should be good to go. Woo. Super simple. One arch liner right there. And that in there is where we need to be. One nut, the second nut down there, our camera doesn't focus at all, and the third nut down there. I just found something that is a little concerning, to be honest. As you can tell, there are many holes, and in these holes there are supposed to be screws that actually hold the bumper in. And literally every single one of these, the screw is missing. And well, this actually seems to be a common theme on my FC. As I said before, before I got the FC, it actually got a brand new paint job, and to be honest, it was a pretty affordable paint job. But regardless, like seriously, if you do not reassemble the car properly, especially when there are so many bolts and screws missing. Dude, like, there's no excuse for that. And I think I don't even have that on video, but like a couple of months ago, I had the same exact issue on the rear bumper, where all of these bottom screws and bolts are missing that actually hold the rear bumper in. This does not only create a huge problem for the panel gaps of the car, but, well, it also makes it pretty dangerous, because at any given moment, this thing could actually just fall off and be a huge safety hazard. So what I'm trying to do now is basically just bring the bumper a little closer, put some bolts in, and hope that the bumper gap gets a little smaller. I don't really have that much wiggle room. I'm trying to adjust everything as we go. Now just some more of those. And in you go. All right, bumper is back on the car. I put all of the necessary screws in. Let's see how this looks now. Oh wow, it actually didn't make any difference. Seriously, what the hell? I thought that would make a difference. Okay, to be fair, there is definitely a noticeable difference. Especially from far away, yeah, that looks much better. Now I just need to bring the headlight a little lower. This gap is big in general on the S4 model, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm just gonna bring the headlights down, as I said, and well, I would count that as an improvement. But most importantly, the bumper is now nice and secure on the car. This is the before and this is the after. Now, the last two things that I want to take care of for today is, first of all, the taillights. And this is one thing that has been bothering me forever now. Like, ever since I installed these taillights, this has been bothering me so much. The biggest issue about all of this is that I do not have any taillight seals, like gaskets or weather sealing, whatever you want to call it. This means that when I drive the RX-7, and you know that Rotaries produce a huge amount of exhaust fumes, all of these fumes get into the cabin. And let's face it, driving around, especially for a long period of time, while being exposed to these fumes, is probably not the healthiest thing to do. So I want to fix that. Now, the only issue with all of that is that these gaskets or these seals, if you buy them from Mazda, these are crazy expensive. And as you can see, I'm not only missing this weather seal right here, but on the back of the taillights there's also this well, rubber seal that seals off the entire taillight from the interior. And because that's missing, that's actually the main reason why I'm completely getting poisoned by all of these exhaust fumes. So let's fix that. But because I do not want to buy these seals directly from Mazda or from Atkins or whatever, because that's in the US anyways and the shipping just is super expensive, I thought, how about we just make them ourselves? Because it's probably not too hard. It's basically just rubber mats or something that I can cut. Oh baby, hardware store. Always feel like a kid at a candy shop when I come here. Okay, so we are looking for some kind of rubberized foam mat that's about like 5 mil thick, not too thick, not too thin, because obviously we want a proper seal on the headlights, and I think I'm actually in a totally wrong alley. Let me ask where we can find this real quick. So, seems like I was actually in the right alley, and that's exactly what I need, but the problem is that I kind of needed a little more thicker. That's literally just 2 mil. These could maybe work if I like double layer these. Yeah, I think that should be good. Just gonna take 4 of these. Let's go. All right, got what we need. Let's get back to the shop. Where'd you come from? Where you go? Okay, seriously guys, do you have like an English? Obviously English is not my native language. German is my native language. So in German we have a word for when a song is stuck in your head, which would be Ohrwurm. Basically it just means earworm, kinda. So when a song is stuck in your head, it's an earworm. Do you also have that in English? Or do you just say like, oh, this song is stuck in my head? Because at the moment I kind of got an earworm of this goddamn song. I don't even know the name. Oh, I don't even know the lyrics. Cotton Eye Joe? Cotton Eye Joe? Is that even? And there you go. Wow, that's super dirty. So let me fill you in on what I'm actually trying to do here. So I bought these little rubber mats that you would usually use in elementary school art class for, well, building stuff, making stuff. Anyways, this is basically the same material as the Mazda OEM seals or gaskets or whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna double layer these, put them on here. They're actually the perfect size. So I just need to cover this rim, is it called rim? I have no idea. And we got our gasket. Oh yeah, oh my god, that actually works perfect. Just gonna poke some holes in there. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this stuff out and should be good to go. Just like that. Awesome. And this is definitely better than spending like over $50 for one of these. And I need two for two taillights. Let's install this thing back on the car. Now before I bolt this down, I really want to kind of find the reason why this taillight sits, well, a little crooked, because I want to make it a little straighter. Perfect, that looks much better. As you can see, it is still a little crooked, but compared to the other one, much better. I somehow managed to get it a little more straight. Anyways, the main thing here that I'm most excited about is that we finally got some weather seals, or whatever you want to call it. I still don't know what to call it. So hopefully no more fumes inside the cabin while I'm driving. That's gonna make all of the difference. Super excited. Let's repeat the same steps on the other taillight, and then let's give this thing a proper clean. That's just nasty. Let's go. And it is done. I think that looks much better than before. And today I really gotta say, at least the bumper, adjusting the taillights a little bit, and especially installing the gaskets, these were just things that I really just put off because I was just procrastinating so hard, to be honest, to do these things, because it's just like tedious, boring work where you don't really see or feel the difference that much, but it just needs to be done. And these are the things that I tend to put off most of the time. Now I'm actually super excited that I got that out of the way, because even though it is subtle, it makes all the difference. And you know what also makes all the difference? Yeah, you're right, giving it a proper wash. Alright everyone, we are on our way to the car wash, and this is the perfect opportunity to finally test out if there are still exhaust fumes coming inside the cabin. So far, I cannot smell anything, but I think this will only show once we get up to speed a little bit, because if you didn't know, on many cars, actually on most cars, there's much turbulence happening in the back of the car. So all of your exhaust fumes basically get sucked up back on the car. That's why, especially on cars without catalytic converters, you can often see all of that dust on the bumper and stuff like that. Same case on my RX-7, but so far, fresh air. Oh, by the way guys, I totally forgot to tell you, but I actually got an alignment for the RX-7, and it really drives so much better than before. Steering wheel is finally straight again. Everything works as it should, and I couldn't really film it sadly because it's kind of like a small private shop, and it's kind of weird to point a camera in random people's faces. Anyways, we got an alignment. Let's go to the car wash. I'm super excited to finally have this thing clean again. Speed bumps with a max speeding rods coilover kit is really not all that fun. Right everybody, RX-7 is nice and clean again. Well, not as nice as I hoped for, but we can still fix that with some nice tissues that I have at my shop. Let's go. Tunnel! hell yeah. Whew. Back at the shop, I've just cleaned the RX-7 a little more with these handy dandy little tissues. These are actually awesome, especially if you want to get rid of all of these dead insects on your bumper or your side mirrors or whatever. This thing, wow, it's pretty shiny again. Some of you have noticed that lately I've been trying some different things with the videos, especially with the video style, the pacing, just trying to mix it up a little bit, because thankfully and sadly, I'm in a position where my channel is not that big yet, so I can still try a bunch of different things, see what you guys like. Also, if you want to help me out, make sure to leave it in the comments below. Which kind of video style do you prefer? The videos that I usually make with more of like a fast pacing, more music, more exciting, or well, these types of videos. Just a little more in-depth, a little more relaxed. Let me know. Super curious about that. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.